Hey there, everybody. It's Joy Foster, founder of Tech Fixies. I'm delighted today to be joined by my guest, Charlotte, who runs Funky Makers on Instagram. Charlotte is a huge fan of all things yarn, and we can't wait to find out more about her. So, hello, Charlotte. How are you?
Hi, Joy. I'm really good this morning. Thank you very much.
Well,
And you?
welcome to the show. And you are also a tech pixie. This is so much fun.
Yes.
The whole month of December, we've been interviewing women who've changed careers and started their own businesses and particularly have been able to use social media to really grow their business. So tell me about your career prior to switching into starting up your own business.
Well, I used to work in the city. I used to work in technology in the city before I had my son. And then after that, I was made redundant after going back from maternity leave, and we decided at that point for me to stay at home until he went to school, and that sort of stretched out a bit when he went to school. I think when you work in technology, you lose your technology skills quite quickly because things move on quite quickly. And I didn't feel I had the confidence to go back into that arena. I did stay busy. I got involved with the PTA at school and a number of other voluntary positions. But when I got involved with the PTA at school, I started doing crafts. So I've always been a knitter and crocheter since I was very young. And I also enjoyed lots of other crafts, paper craft and sort of sewing and stitching, etc. So I started doing the demonstrations at the craft fair. I started running craft stalls at the craft fair, and then the school said to me, "Oh, would you like to do this after school?" And I absolutely loved it. So I took that up, and I did a couple of evenings a week after school, teaching the kids sewing, knitting, crochet, but also running an upcycle recycle club. So we're very eco-minded and eco-friendly. So I like to use a lot of materials that either would have ended up in landfill. So and teaching the kids how to repurpose things, how to use things that that would have ended up in landfill.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, just appreciate what it is we're actually throwing away as well, and that we can try to make use of different things.
Well, also what I love about your story too is I'm sure so many people could resonate with that idea that, you were just going to take a little bit of time off, and then that time kind of got bigger. And so, what's it like when that gap has gotten bigger than you thought it was going to be, and then you're trying to go back to work? How does that feel? And what was one of the thoughts that you realized you needed to how you were going to change things or what you were going to do?
I think you suffer a lot from imposter syndrome, where you don't feel that you've got as much to offer necessarily as you did before.
And which is totally not true, by the way, because all those skills are there, right?
I know. And that's what Tech Pixies has done, really. For me, is to bring that confidence back, to know that I've got that those skills are there. They haven't gone. Yes, technology's moved on, but there are a lot of other skills that I had that I am now putting to very good use. But also, Tech Pixies has opened my eyes to much bigger potential than running after school clubs in one particular school a couple of evenings a week. Since joining Tech Pixies, I have run workshops online. I'm also the creative craft head for Greener and Cleaner Bromley, and we do a lot of sustainable crafts, and I've run a whole series of workshops just recently online for them. and I'm now starting to launch my own Funky Makers workshops online as well. So,
Yeah.
so after Christmas in January, they'll be ready for people to join. I just think, and also for both kids and adults. But I think being creative for children is so important. You know, that we're so academically focused in schools these days, and we're not focused enough on the creative side. And I don't think it's appreciated enough that actually the creative side helps to bring ideas to the surface. It helps the children develop their fine motor skills, their problem solving skills. It just really helps them develop outside of the academic side. There's one little story that, if you don't mind, I'd like to
go for it.
about a number of dentists that went to dental college, and they were asked how many of them had done any sewing. And I think there was 2 out of 120 people that put their hands up and said, yeah, I've done some sewing. And these guys, we were expecting these guys to go and, stitch up your mouth after an operation. And
Oh
they've
my
never had
gosh.
any before. They sent them all to sewing school, the whole class to sewing school before they did much else. So, we need that creative outlet as well as the academic side.
Yeah, for sure. And I think in this environment as well, where you can't go anywhere and do anything, learning online is the only way you can do it. I know with my kids on Sunday morning, we have a Sunday school that one of the ladies of the church runs. It's 1 hour long, and she brings in videos and does little crafts, and my kids love it. And it's their favorite, it's their highlight of the week. And also we love it because we have an hour where they're occupied, and they can do something online. But also, I think the other thing too is we know from our alumni research, from our feedback forms, that our online program works better than our face-to-face program because number one, people don't have to travel. They don't have to travel 2-3 hours to get to us because we used to only be in London and Oxford. But then also, not only on top of the travel part, but because it's online, it's more cost effective. So we can extend the access. Like before, you only had 12 weeks access. It was in person, and that was it. And there was nothing else apart from the Facebook group for the alumni. Now we have a full year. You can get coaching for 36 weeks, all that stuff that we just couldn't do when it was face-to-face. So there's huge opportunities in the online space for people who want to teach.
Having that access to the course over that whole year has been absolutely amazing because you reinforce your knowledge with every run through. So there's some of the subjects that I'm not necessarily doing now because I've been in the program since April. But on the subjects that I want to brush up on, particularly on the strategy, I do that every time. So every time it cycles round, because you learn something new every time, and you reinforce your knowledge. And also with the mindset coaching, I don't miss a mindset coaching because regardless of what the subject is, you gain so much from the mindset coaching. Since we've gone back in September, having that every week has been absolutely amazing. And Teresa is absolutely brilliant with doing that.
Teresa, just for those of you who are listening who aren't familiar with our community, we have always had life coaching as part of our program. And Teresa Klossner is our current kind of head of coaching. And she's doing an incredible job, isn't she? She really understands the needs that women have, especially when, faced with things that come up through social media, but also the current environment. It's a tough environment, and you do need extra support in this environment. And I'm delighted that Teresa's so good at what she does.
Yeah, we've had some very difficult topics that have come up in the mindset coaching. Some very emotional topics that people have to get over and have to move forward from. And it has been absolutely amazing. And it's you've got the support. We go on that call, and there's quite the generally we've got about 50 to 70 people on the call, And it's so supportive, and it's going out into the breakout rooms where you end up meeting another number of tech pixies, maybe 4 or 5 tech pixies, and having that more intimate connection with them, and getting the opportunity to actually, even though Tech Pixies is a big environment now, but having that opportunity to meet people on a one-to-one level, where it's a small group of people, because some of us have come out of those coaching calls, and we have connected outside of that, and we've got relationships outside of that. We've got accountability groups outside of that, and we are helping each other move forward. And it doesn't matter what pace we're all moving forward at. We're all moving forward together, at whatever pace is appropriate for that individual.
Yeah, I love that.
Really good.
And so tell me what, if we were to say, I love future casting a little bit. So just a little bit. So if we were to look at like 10 years from now, and you were to talk to Charlotte in 10 years, what would the 10 years from now self tell you? What will you have created? What will have happened for you?
I hope to be running quite a big group of online courses. So I'm going to start with one, but I do want to do more than one. So I want to have craft workshops that work for kids. I want craft workshops that work for both adults and kids working together, because I think you get a lot of connection. So parents working with their children to do work, to create things. And for adults, so my knitting, my crochet, and all the upcycle skills. But I think we're in such a pivoting environment at the moment, both from like an eco point of view, an environmental point of view. There's got to be a lot of new businesses that have got to take us forward, and obviously we're in a financial crisis as well because of what's happening. We really need to look at things very differently, and have quite a number of different businesses that are going to take us forward. So I'm hoping that crafts and building community, the community at Tech Pieces has been absolutely amazing. But I want to be in a situation where I can build that community for myself in the crafting environment.
Amen.
And also maybe develop craft kits as well that go alongside some of my workshops.
I love that. And of course, I've just interviewed Carol on a previous podcast, and she was great too, because she talked a lot about how she's setting up patterns and selling patterns and wants to set up groups as well. So you've actually got, in the same community, you've got people doing similar things, but different things. And there's an opportunity there as well to learn from each other, rather than see each other as competitors, but see each other as collaborators, and learn from each other, and find a way to promote each other. Maybe she teaches something you don't. Maybe she teaches something you don't. Maybe you teach something she doesn't, and you can pass people back and forth to the right, so that they find the right person. And that's what I was saying to Carol. There might be 100 knitting and crocheting teachers, or 100 crafting teachers out there, right? But not every crafting teacher is going to be the right teacher for you. Just like not every social media course is going to be right for you, and just like not every ukulele course is going to be right for you. I'm just thinking of different courses that people have created. Each instructor for any kind of online course, they have their own nuances, they have their own style, they have their own way of delivery, and that's going to really resonate with people. And there's 7 billion people in the world, right? So there's no way you can reach all of the people, but you can reach a subset of people that love you and identify with you, and who you in turn really want to take care of. And it's a wonderful thing when it does happen. And I can't wait to see this community that you are going to build out.
Yeah, that you meet so many people from different environments, and I've got a number of collaborations coming up with Tech Pixies in the new year. Emma from Wild Boar Ideas, we're going to do a puppet knitted puppet workshop together.
Amazing.
So yeah, and there's the artists as well in the group, and home design in the group as well, which they're different businesses, but we can work together.
Annie's watching this live. She says we are our own superpowers, and I love that she said that. So I'm wearing a Scampin' Dude top, and all of the tops have this lightning bolt on it where you can tap into your superpower. And I love that. The story behind it, we're going to interview her for the podcast, but the story behind it was she was going in for, I think it was brain surgery, and she wasn't sure if she was going to come out alive. And she wished she had something that her children could kind of just touch or feel that would make them feel better. And that's how she came up with the idea of the lightning bolt on the side of all of, yeah, isn't that amazing? So I'm going to interview her. Yeah, but I think that you're right. Annie, we are our own superpowers, and we have people that will listen to this podcast live. So, Charlotte, I think that the fact that you've got this incredible desire to, really protect the creative space that we need to protect, and you tied it back into, surgeons and dental hygienists and how important it is that actually sewing is actually like a vital skill for certain lines of work, and it's not just about clothes.
No, I mean there's other stories as well. I mean, where with a particular plastic surgeon, they needed to reconstruct someone's nose, and they had to do it on glass, and commercial glass companies could not produce glass that would actually work for them to grow the cells, and they had to go to a hand craft glass manufacturer.
Wow.
To actually get the skill that was required to build the piece of glass they needed to do that. So, crafts across the spectrum, crafts are really, really important. And we're so commercial with a lot of things now. We really do need to focus on keeping a lot of the traditional skills alive, and make sure that our children know about them and have an interest in them as well.
Yeah, it's so important. And I love that the fact that these long-standing, ways of doing things still have extreme value, even in a world that has moved forward so much with technology. I remember in Switzerland going and watching a glass blowing session. It was absolutely incredible, to watch them, make the glass and then blow into the glass and then mold. It was just incredible. And I think, we have to protect these ways of doing things for the very reasons that you're talking about, making sure that we are able to do the other things that we need to do, like surgeries and operations, reconstructing noses, and, it's an incredible, I love that you've brought that back to why this is important, not just on a, nice to have level, but on a practical life-saving level as well.
Yeah, very much so.
Wow. Very powerful. Well, we have a lot of people who will be listening to this, possibly who will be thinking about joining Tech Pixies in the new year or at some point in 2021. What would you say, or even now, what would you say to them as in terms of if they were on the fence and they were trying to decide whether or not they should join the program?
Absolutely. It's the best thing that I have done in the last 12 years since I've had my son, basically. It really has been the best thing, and it really opens your eyes to the potential that's out there, because I'm not even sure I knew where I was going when I joined the course. I mean, I was totally inspired by Joy and the information that she was putting out there initially in the free training course. And now that I'm 6 months down the line, you learn so much and you are supported so much by the community that when you start thinking about ideas, you know that you can actually put them into action. You know that you can actually put them into place, and that the support is there to help you do that. And no question is too silly or too small. With the whole group, someone will always answer your questions. So
Yes, no question left behind. That's very
no
important.
questions, exactly. And also the whole done not perfect as well, because I think one of the problems that I had initially was feeling I'm not good enough to do it, or what I've produced isn't good enough. But actually, if you don't start doing it, if you don't start making the effort to do it, then you're not going to get better. So that whole concept of done not perfect is really makes sense.
Well, I heard someone say the other day, perfectly done, not done perfectly. I love that one too. But yeah, done, not perfect. And just get it done, right? Just take action. And it's from taking action that you work out, well, does this work? Does it not work? And I think that's important because, it's interesting. You were talking about having multiple courses. I remember when I set up Tech Pixies, I actually had 6 courses. That's what I had six different options I was going to teach. And in the end, I bundled them all up into one because that was where the value was, because everyone needed the different pieces in order to make the whole picture work. Yeah. But, you try different things and you just see what works and what doesn't work. And we've tried all sorts of different things over the years. And as you try those things, then you say, okay, this works, this doesn't work. You get rid of the stuff that doesn't work, you double down on the stuff that works, and then you keep going. You keep going, and you just, at the end of the day, you have to believe that it's all going to work out somehow. And, one of my favorite verses, and my daughter gave it to me as a gift. It sits on my desk at all times. And it's just Hebrews 11:1. And it says, faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see. And I think no matter what faith background you come from, that's a definition of faith, right? Being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see. And it's having that mindset that it's going to work out somehow if I just keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep moving forwards.
Yeah, that's the thing. You must keep moving forwards. But the support is there to help you keep moving forward. And as long as you turn up, as long as you show up, you will it's almost a process of osmosis that help and that support moves you forward, and you build that confidence back up in yourself to get there and to do what you need to do, which I think for me is showing at the moment. I'm running a craft advent calendar on Instagram. And the feedback that I'm getting from it is absolutely amazing. And I've never done that much video and that much, even what I'm doing now, I wouldn't have done 6 months ago, having this interview with you. So, yeah.
Well, you're giving me chills, and I love it when people, just like you said, you got to show up, right? I mean, one of my favorite Olympic gold medals is this Australian guy who wins in the speed skating because everybody else fell down and he crosses the line. And he's actually a very legitimately good speed skater. He always has been a very good speed skater, and he's always been in the top of the world, but he'd never been on the top of the podium. And what's interesting is he showed up and he kept skating, and every time that people fell down, he just kept going. And and you could argue, oh well, he got lucky and he got the gold medal. But he says, whenever he talks about it, he says, but I could have given up and decided that I wasn't good enough, and I could have, just left the game. And actually by staying in and continuing to do it, he believed that one day he would have a chance. He didn't think his chance would come the way it came, but it did, and that's the thing. He has a gold medal now at the Olympics. And yes, everyone else around him fell down, but he was the last man standing, and he crossed that line, and he has a gold medal for the rest of his life as a result. And his whole life has changed because of that. And I think that, I think showing up is a big part of life. And we know that the students who show up, who do the work, they will get the job done, and they'll move forwards. And that they make the time for it. And we have a huge percentage of women who do that, which is what I love, that people are showing up, and it's that community accountability as well. So, well, I'm very excited to see how things work out for you. If someone wants to go check out your account, where should they go?
So you can find me on Instagram, Funky Makers on Instagram, Funky Makers on Facebook. Not as active on Facebook anymore. Instagram, I've really found really works for me. Pinterest as well. I've got inspirational boards if you're looking for Christmas ideas and Christmas crafts. And my website is coming, but my mailing list, the link to my mailing list is also on my bio on my Instagram account. Sorry. So you can find me there, but the website is coming.
Yes, so getting on that email list if you want to find out what Charlotte's doing in 2021 is going to be really important. So go check her out at Funky Makers on Instagram. Well, it's been a pleasure interviewing you. I've enjoyed this morning so much. Thank you so much for sharing your story. It's inspiring. I know not just to me, but to several people watching and those who will be listening on the podcast. So thank you for sharing your story and being brave and coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. It's been amazing.